My hope is today to share with you in the next 30 minutes, if you can just walk away with one thing that I say to you that you can use for the rest of your high school days and for the rest of your life, that'll really be successful. So that's what my plan is. I want to share with you some of my life's learning, not only from finishing an Ironman, which is a very, very tiny part of my life, but really just finishing high school, going to college, and then being in the business world for the last 17 years, some things that I've learned from people that are happy and successful. So raise your hand if someday, or maybe today, you'd like to be happy and successful, whatever that means to you. So most of us, or all of us in the room, would like to be happy and successful. So I want to share some ideas with you on what I've learned, what that really entails, and what that really takes. The good news is, for some of you in the room, I was a C student at best. So if you're struggling with school a little bit today, it isn't the end of the world. I think a lot of kids that are struggling in school believe that the rest of their life is going to go like that. And I'm here to tell you that it does not have to go that way. And if you're one of the lucky students who can get A's and you're smart and school is for you, that's awesome. Continue to do that, because that'll also pay some big rewards for you at some point. But if you're a C student or struggling, don't take that as my whole life I won't be happy or successful. So you don't have to raise your hand if you're a C student. I can kind of tell who you are just by looking at you. No, I'm just kidding. I really can't. I wish I could, but I can't. You all look really smart to me, actually, so you're probably all A students. So a couple of things. So I just finished, like 4 months ago, I finished an Ironman. Anybody know what an Ironman is? What it entails? So some of you do. So you swim 2.4 miles. When I started my training for Ironman 6 months prior, I couldn't swim 2.4 yards without sinking. So the first workout I ever had was at St. Rose. It was at 10 o'clock at night. It was in December. It was cold, and I thought I was going to die. I couldn't swim. I couldn't breathe. And on the way home, I had to pull over twice to throw up. So I couldn't swim at all. Any swimmers in the room? That is a tough sport. If you've ever not really swam for a long period of time, the swimmers are extremely great athletes. So 2.4 mile swim, then you get off to swim and you bike for 112 miles. And then when you're finished with that, you do a marathon at the end, which is 26.2 miles. So I thought I could finish it in 12 hours. That didn't happen. I finished in 15 hours, but I finished. And I've learned a lot from that, so I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned with you. You have to believe in yourselves. You know, if you're lucky enough today, somebody else believes in you. You have a mom or a dad or a brother or sister or a friend that believes in you. But most of all, you have to believe in yourself. And when I was sitting there and I'm in line with 2,200 other swimmers, I was afraid. I was scared that I was going to drown, because I wasn't a very good swimmer, and all these people around me, and we all get in the water pretty much at the same time. So if you ever Googled Ironman swimming and you see it, I mean, it's pure chaos. So even though I was afraid, I believed that I could do it. It didn't really matter what anybody else thought. I believed that I could finish a 2.4 mile swim. So you all need to believe in whatever you're trying to accomplish, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you're lucky enough, you're going to meet some people in your life that are going to believe in you, and that really, really helps. And it really helps if you're the one that will believe in others, because sometimes that's all they need. But at the end of the day, what I want you to really get is that your life and the ultimate result of your life is going to be dependent on you. So every morning when you walk in and you look in the mirror, if things are going well or if they're not, you really have one person you can thank for that. Who is that? It's yourself. And someday, and some of you already have a job. Does anybody have a job? Raise your hand if you have a job. Great. So either you have a job today or you're going to get a job in the future. Employers love people that take responsibility. I think teachers love people that take responsibility, that we don't blame others. So if something goes wrong, I love a person who says, Alex, that was my bad, my fault. I'm going to make it right. There's really not a lot of time that we spend in my world talking about whose fault it was. We take responsibility, and then what can we do to fix the problem? right? So what can we do to fix the issue? So nobody can make you do anything. In this world, you're going to be, at the end of the day, you're going to account for your success, your failure, your happiness, your unhappiness. We can't really blame anybody else. Life is not easy. If anybody told you life was easy, I believe they misled you. Life is never going to be easy. Now, life can be great. Life can be fun. I have a really great life, but it's not easy. Every day you have to wake up. But I want you to know that that's the way it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be easy, because the fun and the satisfaction that people get is in struggling through whatever they're going through. So when you're going through something difficult, in training for the Ironman, I would spend hours and hours and hours on a bike indoors in the Northeast, 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. And going through that struggle, I just had to keep reminding myself that that was really what I was going for. It wasn't to finish the race 3, 4, 5 months from now. It was to see if I can get through the daily struggle of biking for 3, 4, 5 hours, or running for 3 or 4 hours, or swimming for 90 minutes straight without stopping. That is what life is about. It's not really the destination, but it's the journey that gets you there. But don't think it's going to be easy, because life is not easy, but it can be a lot of fun. I meet a lot of people that say they want to do things, but they don't ever follow through. And that really is the difference between committed, somebody's committed to something, or being interested in something. Somebody tell me the difference between committed and being interested? I'll call on you. Yes?
If you're committed, you're going to do it. If you're interested, you're looking to do it.
Yeah, so if you're committed, you're going to do it. So if you say to me, I'm going to do this, and you're committed, you are going to find a way to do that. And if you're interested, what happens is the minute things get difficult, what do? You give up, you quit. So a lot of people are interested in doing something, but they're really not committed to doing something. When people are committed, they follow through. So the point is that when you're committed, you don't let anybody or anything stop you, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people that might look at any situation and say, well, you can't do that. How many people will tell you, well, you can't do that? And what I'm here to tell you is that you can't listen to people that tell you you can't do something. So again, when I graduated high school, I was a C student. So I didn't have a lot of availability to go to college, but I ended up at Hudson Valley Community College. I think even back then, they had higher standards than I was eligible for, but somehow I got in. But a lot of people say, well, you can't go to college. I mean, you're a C student. But I didn't listen to them, so I went to Hudson Valley, and then there I got my act together a little bit. So I ended up with like a B- when I graduated Hudson Valley. And then Siena College had very low standards back then. They're a little bit higher now. So I got to Siena College, and even at Siena College, I got probably B's, high C's, but no A's. I don't think I've ever gotten an A in my life. And people kept telling me, well, with those grades, you can't really do anything. You can't really do anything. But fast forward in my life, I've been one of the youngest managing partners in the whole Northwestern Mutual Company. Most of you don't even really know about Northwestern Mutual Company, but it's one of the greatest companies in the country. And there's 8,000 people that are employed there, and I'm one of 77 to do what I do. And I'm not telling you that to brag at all, but I'm telling you that if you're committed, you don't listen to anybody tell you you can't do something. So if you get nothing else, just know whatever you're committed to, you can accomplish. And I know some of you are sitting there saying, well, I can't really do that. I don't have the confidence. I don't have this. I don't have that. All I'm telling you is that you just have to write it down, that I am committed to whatever you are committed to. And then what I would do that's worked really well for me is I take a index card like this, and I write down whatever I'm committed to on the index card. And then every morning and every night, you look at this index card. And whatever you're committed to, if it's written down and you really believe in it, I promise you that you will get extremely close to your goal, or you're going to accomplish your goal. Nothing bad will happen when you do that. Let's talk about integrity for a minute. A lot of people talk about integrity, and integrity can mean a lot of different things to people. What it means to me is this. Integrity means that you are going to keep your word. So if you tell me you're going to do something, I expect you to do it. So a lot of people will say stuff, but then they never follow through. Now, I'm not talking about being perfect, but way too many of us let ourselves off the hook when we say we're going to do something. So we have to keep our word. And if you can't keep your word for whatever reason, what should you do? Raise your hand if you know what you do when you're not, none of us are perfect. When you can't keep your word, what do we do?
Ask for help.
You can ask for help. Yep. What else? Somebody said something over here.
Be responsible.
What does that mean, be responsible?
So if you can't keep your word, mess up to it, don't hide under the rug.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is like, what's your name?
Jared Milford.
What's your name, Jared?
Yeah.
So I would call you up and I say, Jared, I know I was gonna get this proposal to you by today, but I just couldn't make that happen. But I can get it to you by Friday. Would that be okay?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't like to work with unreasonable people, so I guess our relationship is over. Is that okay?
How about Thursday?
What time Thursday?
Friday, let's just say.
Well, that was pretty easy. Now, if I call you and I had that conversation, maybe you say no to me. Most people do not, but even if you did, we at least had a conversation about it. Now, what do most people do when they can't keep their word? They hide. They never have the conversation about, hey, I said I was going to do this, I can't do it. If you did nothing else but keep your word for the rest of your life, you're going to be extremely happy, and you're going to be extremely successful, and people will want to be around you. People will want to hire you. You're going to open up businesses. You're going to do really great things in your life if you keep your word. Not every time, because that's almost impossible, but when you can't keep your word, having a conversation like Jared and I just had, and he caved immediately. I mean, Friday, I mean, you could have battled me a little bit. So so keeping your word is having integrity. Right? When people say to me, yeah, I'm going to try to show up Friday, what does that mean?
You're not showing up.
I'm not showing up, right? You guys, we do it. I'll try to be there. No, you're either going to be there or not be there. And if you're not going to be there, it's okay. It's okay to say no, but we just have to say, hey, I'm not going to make it Friday. Instead of saying, yeah, I'm going to try to be there. So we should take the word try out of our dictionary. We're either going to do it or not do it. It's pretty that simple. Everybody is scared. Everybody in this room, including Tom, big guy over there, we're all scared. And we're all scared of different things. And the minute we kind of surrender to our fears, that it's okay to be scared. We're all scared. It doesn't matter how successful people are. It doesn't matter how tall they are. It doesn't matter how big they are. People are scared. But know that everybody's walking the planet afraid. We're all afraid of something. And the minute that we surrender to our fear and we say, hey, we are afraid, and I'm going to move forward, that's how we overcome it. But most people won't admit they're afraid. Why won't they admit they're afraid?
Because they're afraid that they're afraid.
They're afraid that they're afraid. Yeah, a lot of people are afraid of being afraid. Absolutely. That's a little deep. You'll have to think about that this weekend when you're home in your room. I'm afraid of being afraid. You really are. But why are we afraid to admit it? Vulnerability, right? Pride, vulnerability. All that stuff, if you're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself, will eventually go away. Don't take what people say about you personally. Right? Whose issue is it when people talk bad about you, when people say you can't do stuff? Whose issue is it? It's their issue. But why do we take it upon ourselves, right? Why do we say, well, this person said this and this person said that? Don't take anything personally. Can you all do that? It's hard, isn't it? When somebody says something, if they say something on Facebook or Twitter or they're talking to their friends about it, don't take that stuff personally. It's not about you. When they say stuff like that, it's not about you at all. This is probably, again, when I was training for the Ironman, people kept asking me, well, what time do you want? What's your goal? And I would give them a time, but at the end of the day, none of that stuff really mattered. It didn't matter what my time was going to be. It didn't matter if I came in last or first. There was a pretty good chance I was not going to come in first. There was a very good chance I could come in last. And that almost happened. But why didn't none of that stuff matter? Because the only thing I could control during the 15 hours was what? I could only control myself, right? So the only thing you can ever do in life is do your best. Right? It's the only thing you can control. So when my kids come home and they get, Thank God they have their mother's brain so they get pretty good grades. But sometimes they'll get like an 85 and they'll be disappointed. And I say, did you do your best? Was that the best you can do? And if you say yes, I don't care what your grade is. I don't care if it's a 50, I don't care if it's a 90. If you did your best, that's all you can do. So in life, it's easy, and we do it all the time, compare ourselves to other people. Well, it doesn't really matter what anybody else does. The only thing we can control is, did you do your best? And if you did your best and you can look in the mirror every morning and every night and say, hey, I did my best, I can guarantee you that you're going to have a really happy, successful life. Because there's no need to compare yourself to others. We're all unique. We're all different. It doesn't matter if somebody's faster or slower than me or smarter or dumber than me. It doesn't really matter. The only thing we can really control is, what do we do? Did I do my best or not? And who's the only person in the world that can answer that question? It's yourself, right? So you can choose to lie to anybody that you want, but if you lie to yourself, that's when you lose. So to be honest with yourself every morning, every night, did I do my best? And if your best was that you got 85s on all your tests, or you got a 75 on all your tests, if that was truly your best, you can look in the mirror every day and really be proud of what you've accomplished. So the last thing I want to talk about, and we're gonna wrap up. Couple things. Most of us, and this is really sad, but most of us will never ever reach our full potential. So every single person in this room has so much potential. I mean, you all could really change the world if you wanted to. If you set your mind to it, and you did your best every day, and you made great decisions every day, you could accomplish amazing, amazing things. You all have the ability to do that. Unfortunately, most of us will never accomplish that. Most of us won't even come close to accomplishing what our potential is. So the example I'm going to give you, anybody here like cars? Just a few of you? Bad example, but I'm going to use it anyway. So does anybody know like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari is? Raise your hand if you know what that car is. All right, so most of us do. So that car has the ability to go about 230 miles an hour. So it's a pretty fast car. So most of us have that ability within us. So we have that Ferrari in the garage, we have the Lamborghini in the garage, we could go 250 miles an hour, but most of us in life don't ever take it out of first gear. We never go above 30 or 40 miles an hour in life. And so even though we all have this extreme potential to really change the world, you have this potential to do so many great things and to give back to the community, and just to impact everybody you come in contact with, most of us will not do that. And you won't do that because we're afraid to try different things. We're afraid to fail. Who likes failure in here? Raise your hand if you like to fail. I love to fail. I really do. I honest to God mean I love to fail. Why do I love to fail? That's the only way you learn. Have you ever heard your parents ever tell you all lessons are learned the hard way? Nobody ever learns anything if you're succeeding all the time. And if you're succeeding all the time, only tells me one thing. What's that tell me if you never fail? What does that tell me? You're not challenged enough. If I never fail, you're just not challenging yourself enough. So I would say you want to fail often and as much as you can. Because that's how you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to discover some really neat stuff. That's how you're really going to change the world, if you fail often, to learn from your mistakes. So how many times did Thomas Edison try to invent the light bulb before he actually did it? How many times?
A lot.
A lot is a very good answer, but not accurate. I need more specific.
10,000.
10,000, that's exactly, you get a prize. Tom has a prize for you. It's a hug, it's a free hug from Tom. 10,000, could you imagine if Thomas Edison on the 9,000th try said, you know what, this is really stupid. This is never going to work. I don't know why I'm even trying. We'd all be sitting here with candles right now. Right? Think about that, 10,000 times. And when they asked Thomas Edison, did you fail 10,000 times? He said, no, not really. I just found 10,000 ways that it didn't work. Right? So all great things, People have failed over and over and over, but what is the key to that? When you fail, what is the key? What happens after you fail? Find the right way. So you can't quit. So when you fail, you're just going to keep moving forward, and you're going to keep moving forward, and you're going to keep moving forward. And if you do that your whole life, and you try your best, I guarantee you, you're going to accomplish some really, really great stuff. So I know some of this stuff, and listen, at 15, I would have been gone by now in this room. I would have been like, this guy's crazy, and I would have left for sure. But I promise you, I have interviewed thousands of people. I have read thousands of books. I meet with successful people all the time. What I'm sharing you today, what I'm sharing with you, if you just take one or two of those things that I say and just carry it out in your high school life, and then in your college life, and then in your career, you will be extremely, extremely successful. So I leave you with this. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that. That believe in yourself and you will accomplish great things. So thank you for your time. You guys are great. Enjoy your winter break. Thank you.